The world didn't actually stop that day. Cars continued rushing past, their horns impatient, their engines restless. People kept walking, talking, living, laughing into phones, arguing over nothing, chasing places they needed to be. Time kept moving forward. Unbothered. But my heart didn't. The exact moment my eyes met his. My name is Jessica. And for the longest time, I believed love was loud. I believed love arrived with certainty, with bold confessions, dramatic gestures, and moments so clear you never had to question them. I believed love announced itself. I was wrong. Sometimes, love doesn't arrive screaming. Sometimes, it arrives quietly, when the world is busy making noise. And if you're not careful, you almost miss it. It was an ordinary evening. The kind you forget as soon as it ends. The kind that doesn't ask to be remembered. The city was alive. Cars honked impatiently. Footsteps rushed with purpose. Conversations overlapped into meaningless noise. Everyone was moving, fast, like standing still meant falling behind. I was thinking about nothing important. Just the usual thoughts that fill empty spaces. What I needed to buy. What I needed to finish. What I needed to forget. And 10. I bumped into him. Not the kind of bump that ends with a laugh and a careless apology. The kind that makes time hesitate. The impact wasn't hard, but it was enough. Papers flew from his hands, scattering across the pavement like thoughts knocked loose by fate. Without thinking, I knelt to help. So did he. Our fingers touched. 1 second. That was all it took. The noise faded. The movement slowed. The air felt heavier, like the world had leaned in to watch. We stayed there longer than necessary, kneeling on concrete that suddenly felt unreal, holding papers neither of us was reading. "I'm sorry," he said. His voice was calm, but his eyes weren't. They held something I couldn't explain. Recognition without memory. Familiarity without history. Like we had met in another life and forgotten until now. "It's okay," I replied, even though my heart was pounding too loudly to ignore. That was it. No sparks flying. No dramatic music. No perfect ending. Just silence. And, somehow, that silence followed us. We didn't exchange numbers. We didn't make plans. But life has a strange way of repeating what matters. I saw him again. At the same cafe, near my office. At the same bus stop during the quiet hours. On the same park bench where people came to think instead of talk. Each time, our conversations grew longer. We spoke about simple things. Work, weather, small observations. Nothing important. Yet everything mattered. His name was Ethan. He wasn't loud. He didn't try to impress or perform. He didn't fill silence just to escape it. He listened. Really listened. He noticed things people usually overlook. How I stirred my coffee absent-mindedly. How I avoided certain topics. How my smile faded when the past brushed too close. "You disappear sometimes," he said once, watching me carefully. "So do you," I replied. He smiled softly. "Maybe that's why we keep finding each other." Something settled inside my chest. Something warm. Something dangerous. Days turned into weeks. We never named what we were doing. Never defined what we were becoming. But my world began to revolve around moments with him. The way he waited until I crossed the road safely. The way he never checked his phone when I spoke. The way silence between us felt safe. Comfort grew quietly. Dangerously. Because comfort becomes attachment. And attachment becomes fear. And fear convinces you to stay silent. It happened without warning. Streetlights flickered. Then died. Shops went dark. Traffic frenzy. The city fell into an unfamiliar quiet. People panicked. Cars honked uselessly. Voices echoed through darkness. But Ethan and I stood still. "This feels unreal," I whispered. He looked at me, eyes reflecting the shadows. "Sometimes," he said quietly, "the world needs to stop so people can feel what they've been avoiding." My heart tightened. Like what? I asked. He hesitated. Like love. Silence returned. But this time, it burned. I wanted to step closer. I wanted to tell him everything. But fear was louder than courage. The lights came back on. The city breathed again. And the moment passed. But something fragile had begun. That night, lying awake, I realized. When the world stopped, love didn't ask for permission. It simply began. The world started moving again. But our hearts were left behind in that moment. After the blackout, nothing felt the same. We didn't talk about it. And that silence hurt more than words ever could. We still met, still laughed, still walked side by side. But something delicate lived between us now. Love stood in front of us. Fear stood in the way. One evening, Ethan finally said, "Do you ever feel like you're standing on the edge of something important?" My breath caught. "Yes," I whispered. "And I'm terrified of falling." "Me too," he said. That was the problem. We were afraid of the same thing. "I'm leaving the city for a while," he said one day. "Not forever, but long enough to matter." When the world stopped, he said, "I realized I don't want a life where you're just a moment." Tears fell freely. I was afraid love would change everything, I confessed. He smiled sadly. "It already has." That night, we walked together. "I don't know what happens next," I said, "but I don't want to pretend anymore." He reached for my hand. "This time." I held it. We didn't promise forever. We chose honesty. When he left, it hurt. But it didn't break us. Because love doesn't need perfect timing. Only courage. And when he returned, it didn't feel like a reunion. It felt like continuation. Because some loves don't begin loudly. They begin in silence. And when the world stops, love starts. And even when the world moves on, love stays.